Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here. This is the high-grade Gundam 00 Diver Arc, and this of course is from Gundam Build Divers Metaverse. As always, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobby Link Japan, so if you do want one of these of your own, that link is down there in the description. So jumping right on into the aesthetics, and what can I say, this is probably the most over-the-top version of 00 Diver we have ever seen. This just looks ridiculously cool. The colors have been shifted around. This has one of the greatest looking high-grade heads I have ever seen, which has blown me away, and overall this just looks incredible, and those clear parts just look insane. Even though it looks absolutely fantastic with all of those light-absorbing resin effect parts all over it, we're going to have to hold on to those until the accessory. So that means it's time to strip all of this off to see the 00 Diver Arc that is below it all. Now, I didn't think I'd be saying much in this review about this particular kit because we've seen this multiple times before. We saw the 00 Diver and the 00 Diver Ace before Riku updated entirely to a brand new suit being the 00 Sky. I figured what we had in here was just a little bit of a color swap, but boy was I wrong, and I have done a lot of things right with this kit, especially because with the older versions of the Gundam 00 Diver and the Ace, I wasn't ridiculously impressed by those kits. This of course is quite similar in a lot of ways, and still harks back to the high-grade 00 Gundam from 2008, making it an almost 16-year-old Gundam this is based on. But sometimes Bandai just comes out and shocks and does something that was not expected. So let's get in a little bit closer and see what we've got. So when it comes to the overview, the overall look of this particular kit right here, this is very, very impressive. Bandai have done a whole lot to the 00 and the 00 Diver on top of it. First off, this is a completely brand new color. There's an almost purple hue to the blue in here, and the yellow has been changed towards a nice cheesy orange. Processed cheese. Both of these colors go together so spectacularly, and all of the other aspects that make up a 00 are here. We've got the nice shiny aspects to the GN condensers, and we have something a little bit more. Bandai has included two types of stickers in here. That's the normal types of stickers. These aren't so bad, they just go on the head cameras, and the other ones are buried a little bit deeper in it. Now I will mention there's a couple of color separating ones in a minute that aren't that great. But on top of that, we also get those kind of 3D style stickers that we've been seeing all the way back to the Perfect Grade Unleash and beyond. These are thick, they're almost a millimeter thick, and they look like plastic parts instead of the usual foil stickers. They look so much better, and we've got those up in the pair of GN drives up in the shoulder, or should I say above shoulder armor. At this point, I should also mention this kit has nothing done to it whatsoever. I panlined the muzzle, the two lines in the muzzle, and that is it. I always do this before I build because that can be one of the hardest parts to clean up when you do actually panel line it. So if you did panel line this kit up some more, that white would be broken up and wouldn't look so washed out. Overall though, there's some great angles, and this looks so good. But first, let's get the bad out of the way. So the 00 Diver doesn't get away scot-free here when it comes to stickers. They're not really all that bad. The usual ones, those circle ones, are inside of the condensers to just kind of darken up inside of them. That's not the worst. These ones right here go on the weapons, and weapons that aren't really the 00 Diver's weapons, which aren't a massive deal, but these ones right here would be the worst of the bunch. These are actually for on this raised little piece on the feet right here, which is meant to be in grey, and considering Bandai did do a lot of new pieces for this kit, especially some actual brand new grey pieces on the J-Runner, you think they could kind of do that too. However, with this kit, it seems like with every down point you get a positive point too. So we do have some stickers in the head camera up top right there. There is a sticker round back on the rear head camera, but if you take a peek right here, sticker number 1, that's the eye sticker. I did not use it, but yet, look how good that looks. This kit right here has a brand new head build. The head itself is absolutely phenomenal. Actually, let's decapitate him and take a closer look. So there is the head in all of its glory, and I am so impressed by this. This has been designed from the ground up for this kit. This is brand new, every aspect of it, and it is gorgeous. This is one of the nicest 00 heads I have ever seen. So first off, those eyes in there, those are fully color separated. They are in a light blue, however, but I couldn't help myself. It was such an easy thing to do, I was like, why not? I hit it with this marker right here. This is the Gundam Meta Blue Gundam marker. It is this shade of color. It's slightly too blue, which should be a little bit greener to actually match this kit, but it's a very nice marker. And I did not want to make the choice between color separated eyes or eyes that catch the light, so I went with these, and that works really well. I'd recommend if you're buying this kit, grab that marker too. The V-fin on here, those cheesy orange parts, those are individual little pieces. The side plates of the head are individual too. We've got absolutely brand new tiny GN condensers for using with this. These must be 3mm across. This is one impressive head. We even have a color separated bit of blue round on the back of the head there. And like I mentioned, the only thing I did pan line on this is the muzzle right there just to bring it out. Besides that though, this is what you'll get. I'm blown away. Now, speaking of Gundam markers and pan lining and all that stuff, I was going to use the sticker like everything else on this kit in this little chest section right here. Now this right here, according to the instructions, is the GN Daidal Cannon. A powerful firearm equipped to the middle of the chest. This equipment was also inspired by the Gundam age. It would seem that Riku has been influenced by the taste of his greatest rival, a certain champion gunpla builder. So yeah, I didn't want to cover this up with the included sticker right there. As you can see, I'd actually taken it off because I was planning to, but it's just so nicely detailed. Let's hit it with a little bit of panel lining. I'm going to go with the flow type gray, which I always use. This is very simple, flows really well, and it's not as overly contrasted as something like the black, which I can find can be a little bit overkill at times. I just don't want to lose that lovely detail. So jumping into that full 360-degree spin, I am impressed. I'm shocked that I'm actually impressed. I built 2 Gundam 00 divers already, and both of them were a little bit not so awesome. They were okay, but nothing spectacular. This has raised the game entirely. Bandai has made a brand new chest, backpack, forearm sections for this. The legs, some of the upper body and some of the arms are all still old 00, but they still work out really well. The new color scheme in its kind of muted colors is amazing as well. I am so impressed. There's lots of nice little shiny bits to catch the light, very Gundam Build Fighter style up in the head, on the arms, and up on the GN drives as well. This is a great looking gunpla. So anyway, onto a bit of a size comparison. There it is. There it is side by side with your average size Gundam being an Oryx 78-2. Beside the high-grade 00 Riser, the entry-grade La Gundam, Shin Burning Gundam, the entry-grade Strike Exceed Galaxy, the Jim Shoulder Cannon Missile Pod, and the high-grade Gundam Aerial. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's absolutely everything that comes with the high-grade 00 Diver Arc. We get a whole ton of clear effect parts in here in this light-absorbing resin, 2 standard beam sabers, 2 GN long blades, and a whole ton of hands. One of these pairs the manual didn't mention to build, but I built it anyway because they were included, but that is a lot of hands. Anyway, let's check out everything one by one. So when it comes to the hands in here, these are the usual ball joint swappable hands that attach into a polycap inside. What we've got in here is not just one set of holding hands, we've got 2 different ones. We have a pair of widespread open hands, and what we also have in here is a pair of trigger finger holding hands. These aren't required in this actual set right here, and they're not even mentioned in the manual to build. I just built them anyway. Next up in here, we've got a very standard set of beam sabers. These are completely normal, and these are right out of the 2008 version of Gundam 00. To attach them into the hands, they just slide on in like so, and just do what normal beam sabers do, just like so. Pink beams, classic, old, roundy beam. When these are not in use as usual, you just pop out the beam like so, flip around Gundam 00 Diver Arc, or should we say Gundam 00 Diver Arse, because that's exactly where both of these go. Both of them right up the butthole, aka the rear skirting armor, and that's what they look like attached on in. So while we're on the topic of buttholes, this is one of those kits that has one of those little privacy covers. This one right here, you just pop this off, and here is your 3mm peg for attaching this onto a stand or action base. Now I'm going to pop this onto what I always pop a high grade onto, and that is Good Smile Company's Simple Stand. These are so cheap. I recommend them. People ask me what they are all the time, so I tell you all the time. You get a 3-pack for about a tenner. I mean, seriously, they're the cheapest, best stands around, and perfect for high-grade gunpla. So next up in here, we've got the pair of long blades. Now these are from the 2008 kit. They don't even have a blurb in the manual, so they're not really essentially a part of the 00 Diver Arc's weaponry. It's just the manual says build them because they actually come in here, and it's an option to use. These are the same as they've always been. They can be in a shooty rifle mode or in a swordy slashy sword mode. Popping them into the hands requires the other hands that are in here. These ones have a little bit of a wider grip, so you have to change out the hands to pop these on, and they can either be in the hand in shooty mode, slashy mode, or stored on the hip like so. But once again, these don't even have a blurb in the manual, so I'm not going to spend too much time on these. They're not that important. Next equipment. But now actually moving on to what really makes this right here shine, and that is the included effect parts right here. Now once again, Rambaral is in the instructions telling us about these, and apparently once again these are resin, and that makes them ridiculously shiny. These look like nothing I have ever seen before. Now In case you didn't see the last review, or one of the last reviews with the Shin Burning Gundam, we did have some resin effects in there. They were prismatic, which means they had this kind of cool effect that kind of had a bit of a diachrome kind of look when the light hit it, and like in the actual plastic, not just coated onto it like a pearlescent coating. It looked really good. Now what this apparently does is light absorb to make it even brighter. Now, it just looks a little clearer to me than the usual kind of effect part we'd get in one of these kits. It does throw off the light in a very glassy kind of way, which is cool, but let's see how it reacts to some blue light. I don't have a black light, so let's try blue. So I'm just going to be using a standard LED light here to see if this actually works or not, so let's see what we get. Here is one of the effect parts. I'll just throw it on top just like so. Turn off this light right here and see if we get any kind of glow out of it. So that's it normal. There's just an orange light. It's a little on the too bright side. Actually, can use that to calibrate it down a little bit, and let's move it over to blue, and that is definitely glowing up there without a single doubt. We're getting some glow. I'm not sure if I'd say it's as much as Bandai's standard plastic, but it still looks pretty cool. So like I mentioned, I don't actually have a black light handy, but I do have a whole lot of blue lights all around the place, and I do notice that Bandai's green effect parts always glow under blue light, and I mean intensely glow. I can't imagine what they're like under UV light. Like, if we go over here and take a look at some of this stuff, we've got that big old Sazabi right there with its absolutely glowing effect part. We've got Epion over here that's glowing. Even these Robot Damashi figures, they have glowing green effect parts. Same with this big old 30-minute missions. So how does one of these compare? So if I move this actually in beside Sazabi's massive effect part, which is made out of normal Bandai plastic, this definitely doesn't fluoresce as much. Same if I pop it beside anything else that's around here. If I get it up close to some lights, it doesn't fluoresce that much either. It definitely fluoresces, but not on the same level. Which really does get me wondering, if this doesn't actually fluoresce as much as plastic, why would Bandai make the move over to resin? There must be some kind of reason, like why they keep trying Ecopla or the limestone infused plastic. They're, I guess, trying to move away from plastic in little experimental sort of ways, and this is the result so far. But it does look nice, glassy, and unique. Anyway, as for what these effect parts do, first up in here we've got the Arc Bracers, some of the coolest weapons I've seen in some time. What it says about these in the instructions is, arm guard units equipped to the forearms. Besides housing GN Vulcans, they also function as burst blades using GN burst parts. Similar to the Shiguru blades from Gundam Age, it boasts razor-sharp cutting ability. Also, it seems like this is a particular unit that hardens GN particles into an almost crystalline form, which really does work in this kit with that awesome resin. Now these weapons are really cool. We've got the standard GN condenser in the back, the colors look great, but what really rocks here is the fact that you just attach in the effect part just like so, and then you bring down the yellow sections, or should I say orange sections, onto it, and it locks it in place for this beautiful look. Just popping it off so you can see that a little bit better, and from around back you can just pop the crystalline blade into them just like so. These parts then just swing around and grab onto some little sections on the side, locking them in place. And these look so good when they're attached. These are some cool weapons. Just mounted the forearms, just like that. These look incredible. Now, if that wasn't cool enough, what we're going to be taking a look at next is the Burst Buster Sword mode. And what it says in the manual about this is a combat mode in which a hand grip is deployed from the drive units, and the clear parts come together to function as a large sword. This is pretty ridiculous. Now, it said a large sword, but there's two of these drives, so why not make two? So basically what you do is you pop off the GN drives off the shoulders just like so, open them up like this, grab the big effect part. You're actually meant to grab some more, but I forgot, so I'm going to do that now in a second. But anyway, they pop on like so, and you get a massive Buster Sword. But like I mentioned, why have one when there's two on here, and enough effect parts to make two massive Buster Swords? This is over the top and very Build Fighters, Build Divers-esque with those great looking effect parts. Oh wait, I thought I'd forgotten some of the clear parts. No, these ones were the ones I thought I'd forgotten. So you can open them up kind of like so. I'm not sure if they're meant to open like that, but they do open. I thought I'd left those ones off, but no, that is what they look like. So at this point I was like, oh, these kind of slide around in an annoying way, the handles, but that is not so. Once they're out like this and you pull these sections out, it actually locks in a mechanism so this handle cannot slide back in anymore. That is pretty cool. So if everything we've seen so far wasn't cool enough, we've got some more. So we add on these little sections right here, these extra effect parts. We got 4 of these, 2 for each of the drives. Then you pop the blade section back on and pop these up onto the shoulders. Now for good effect, I'm going to actually add on the arm blades as well, just to get all of everything going at once on here and get this as impressive looking as possible. And finally then we do have this little segment which attaches up around behind the neck like this, which adds even more flair and explosive edges to this. This honestly is so impressive for a Gundam 00 diver. So besides this just being in its usual position up on the shoulders, we have 2 modes as well. First off in here is the burst high maneuver mode. In order to do this, you drop the GN drive connector parts that are connected to the backpack all the way around down to the bottom so they're upside down. Then you realign the GN drive segments with the effect parts out to the back like so, and you do that both sides and this is what you get. And it reminds me a little bit of the G self. This does look pretty cool, but there is one little bit of an issue with this, and that is these don't look that great from below. And the below is now the top, which is very visual, which is very visible. So it could be a little bit better, but still, when you look at this from the side or from the front, it still looks pretty cool, but not as cool as it's gonna look. But first off, what it says about this is a mode where the drive units are deployed backwards and maneuverability is highly increased. The clear parts act as large propellers, and mobility is raised to the utmost limits. So in order to get into the next mode, which is the burst shield mode, you need to flip the GN drives back to where they were before, so this is it reset back to its standard mode. Then you bring the 2 GN drives forward in that very Gundam 00 kind of way, and then you spin them around till they're pointing almost all the way upwards, just like so. And this looks incredible. However, I will mention, the joint that attaches the GN drives onto the shoulders is this crappy little polycap slot joint, which is very likely to give up on you, and this keeps happening to me. So make sure you're paying attention to these while turning them around or moving them around because they pop off a lot. But anyway, that is what it looks like, and it looks pretty cool. I do have a little bit of a minor complaint, however. In the instructions right here, it shows this pretty cool picture, but the legs on the 00 diver arc are crossed, which is something that you most certainly cannot do when this is up on the stand, because the stand blocks the critical kind of junction between the legs, so they cannot come together. So that is definitely a bad design, and that means you can't... Oh, look at it falling apart again. Woo. One thing I will say about the Gundam 00 diver, it doesn't like to hold together. At least the ones I had before definitely didn't. So basically what I do in this sort of situation is I grab one of these kind of claw grabby adapters for an action base so you can throw it around its waist, so it looked like I had it at the beginning of the review. I was about to try and get it like this right now, and then this happened right here, and I'm like, ooh yeah, this is why I never liked the Gundam 00 Diver Ace Gundam 00 Diver, and it seems this one too. But anyway, it's verdict time. If you do want to see the actual articulation of this kit, it's exactly the same kit as the 00 Divers before, so just check out those reviews. This is just really a bit of a cosmetic upgrade only. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and what can I say, no matter how beautiful of a house you have, it is doomed if it's built on a bad foundation, and that is exactly what's happened time and time again with Gundam build kits. They take older kits and then they kind of build a new kit onto it using it as a core, and it sometimes works out, but depending on what it's built on top of, it kind of doesn't turn out that great, and that's the case here. All of my Gundam 00 Divers have always just fallen apart. At the waist right here, they'll fall apart. They'll fall apart at the ankles. They'll just fall apart all over the place, and that is this kit's fate, unless you put a little bit more time into it and glue some parts. That really isn't the biggest deal, but just out of box, it does mean that this kit does have its issues. That means to me it is silver tier. At its core, it is the Gundam 00. It's an older kit. It's from 16 years ago almost, so you can't really fault it too much. However, you can fault Bandai for building this kit on top of it. They could have given us a brand new high-grade Gundam 00 and then built it on top of it. But those sort of 00 flaws out of the window, I'm just going to go through the list. Aesthetically, this is absolutely gorgeous. The head on this makes me really wish that we got a full brand new kit instead of just some brand new parts. The chest and the head and the new wings all look incredible and really do, well, they're the star of the show right here. The bracers too. When it does come to the accessories in here, they are very, very nice. The issues, as usual, is being built on something from before, so that means the GN drives up on the shoulders can pop off every now and then if you're not paying too much attention, or if you just kind of breathe or fart near it. However, all of the accessories do look nice. You got a lot of hands in here, and you've got a lot of options. And if you do tighten this thing up, glue a few bits, you will have one beautiful kit. When it comes to the articulation, it is good, not fantastic. It's slightly dated, but not overly dated. It still can get some great poses, and most of what you'll be looking for, just nothing too over the top or too modern. The articulation, definitely old school. New school, old school. As in we don't have any ball joints in the hips or anything like that, so it's good for the most part. But yeah, that is it. It's a alright kit. It's a beautiful kit without a doubt, but it does have some foundational issues that will need some seeing to. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan. Link is down there in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. So was this video right here would not have been possible without each and every single one of you guys who watches my videos, and all of these awesome people right here who help out on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, including 10 Soldier YT, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Dashel Marmion, Golel Rockstar, Joe, Lauren Seahack, or G95061, 10 Soldier YT again, and Van Fawn.